Welcome to Shotgun Sports USA. I'm your host, Justin Barker, and I talk to shotgun shooters from all over the world in every discipline, as well as coaches, gun clubs, target setters, vendors, and industry-leading companies that fuel the sport. Check us out online at shotgunsportsusa.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. Shotgun Sports USA is powered by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Also brought to you by Ultimate Shooting Accessories, Rick Hemingway's Promatic Trap Cells, Sound Gear Phantom, Comp and Choke, Clay Shooter Supply, Clay Target Vision, and Cole Gunsmithing. My guests on the show today are going to talk about the Gamel Cup, which is headed to Georgia and will be held at Cherokee Rose. Find out what's planned, what will change, and what to expect. Welcome to the show, Geoff Pare, owner of Gamel Shooting Supply, and Dave Dalton, owner of Cherokee Rose. Dave and Geoff, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks, Justin. Good to see you.
Well, you know, when we got on this call, I know, Dave, it's hot where you're at, and then Geoff said it's hot where he's at. So I guess it's just hot everywhere, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, I'll do all I can to stay out of that. So anyway, Geoff, before we get started, tell me one thing.
Yes, sir.
Is it pronounced Gamel or Gamel, or how do you pronounce it?
Most of us, and I say most of us here in Gamel, Kentucky, pronounce it Gamel.
All right.
And we even have a few that's even more redneck than me that says Gamaliel. So, but Gamaliel is a Bible pronunciation. So
okay.
It's a Bible name. Yeah.
Well, as long as they come to the shoot, you don't care how they pronounce it, do you?
That's what I've always said. You call us what you want, just as long as you call. So.
That's right. So today, what we're going to do is discuss the Gamel Cup, and we're going to get a little history on the shoot, find out why this tournament's been so popular for so many years, and what to expect when it comes to Cherokee Rose. So, Geoff, tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do.
All right. Well, my mother and father started Gamel Shooting Supply back in 1970. So we're on 52 or 3 years now, I guess, of that. And so I grew up in the shooting business and been to trap shoots all my life. My father was a trap shooter and was a mechanic by trade, and started peddling shot and powder and shells out of the trunk of a 65 Chevrolet car when I was 7 or 8 years old, and built a little shop. We're first in our utility room. My mother ran that while he still mechanicked, and then got a little busier and busier, and finally, I don't remember the exact year, but he quit mechanicking and we built a little shop. And then I think in maybe 89, my wife, LaDonna, was a dental hygienist, and she started with us, and we started doing some little flyers and shipping stuff by mail. And in 90, we built the building where we're in now. And there for a while, we had a pretty good mail order business catering to trap, skeet, sporting clay shooters all over the country. And then sold that part of the business in 15, but back in 2005, a good friend of mine, Mr. Rick Archer, and actually the partner in this Gamel Cup shoot with me, kept boring me, wanting me to do a sporting clay shoot at Nashville, and I just didn't know anything about it and hadn't done anything like that. And he said, "I tell you what, if you'll just do it and put your name on it, if we lose money, I'll pay it." And I said, "Okay, here we go." So I think we had about 200 the first year, and been really lucky to grow every year since. So
you don't shoot at all?
I shoot some sporting clay. Used to shoot trap growing up,
okay.
And then, but you know, every weekend from April till October, I was at a shoot somewhere in my growing up years, and so sometimes now when I get a day off, I don't go to a shoot, but
yeah.
But I do enjoy sporting clay shooting and do several fundraiser shoots around and stuff like that.
Well, tell me a little bit about something. We've got a shortage of nearly everything, it seems like, whether it be shotgun shells or primers, or kind of tell me a little bit about that. How's the ammo looking right now, and how the targets and
the clay targets, thankfully, are as of now are very well supplied. We've not had any issues so far with the white plier targets we sell, and we deliver all over the South and Kentucky and Indiana. So so far that's been good. The ammo is getting a little better for sure. And we do the shell house at the Grand American Trap Shoot here in a couple of weeks, and so all manufacturers except a couple of the smaller ones have committed to fulfilling those orders, which is a big deal out there. And so that's good. I do think when some of the foreign shells get coming into the country a little more regular to take some of the pressure off of Winchester Federal and Remington, that will help ease the pain a little bit. You know, we've had so many little hiccups in the last year or two, you know, with the COVID and all the logistics and the supply chain issues they call it. It's really put a lot of pressure on our USA manufacturers just to try to keep up. So I've got high hopes that after the Grand October, November, this next spring, we'll see things a little better, I hope.
Yeah, I know that I've been at some clubs before and seen an 18-wheeler pull up with Gamel shooting supply on the side of it. And I said, well, if they got a truck that big, they have to be delivering some targets. So I don't know how many you ship all over the country, but it's got to be a lot to have trucks that big.
Yeah, we've got 7 semis that run all over the South, and then we export quite a bit to Brazil, Jamaica, and Dominican Republic, and different places. So we sell 1 or 2 truckloads of targets a day. So most generally every day.
How many targets fit on a truckload?
We haul 22 pallets. So
I've attended the Gamaliel Cup a few times, and every time I went, I was always impressed with how smooth things ran and how friendly everyone was. And you've been doing this so long, I'm sure that you figured out a process that works. And I want you to tell me what the secret is in running a smooth, successful tournament.
I'll tell you now, the first one that we done with the 200 shooters was not very smooth, and the second one was not much smoother. But we teamed up with Promatic, and gosh, I think in maybe 2008 or 9, and I hired Hayward Cunningham, set our targets, and has every year since then. And then his staff brought in the machines, managed the machines, and then I've got, still the 5 or 6 at Gamel that work with me. They've been with me 25 to 6 years with me every shoot we've done, and we all sort of know what kind of banners to put up and the signs and who's packing the water and who's picking up scorecards. And I've got a lot of good people, and Miss Rhonda Barfield does all of our scoring and her team, and she knows what she's doing. And so really I've surrounded myself with a lot of good people, and not that I can take much of that credit, but I've got good people, and we don't care to work. That's a big thing.
What made you look at Cherokee Rose when you decided to move the tournament?
Well, we had sort of outgrown Nashville, and they are a great club. We've had 20 awesome years almost, I guess, or 19 was this time. But anyway, but they do so many corporate shoots. They're so busy. They just don't have a lot of time. So I just called my friend Bill McGuire and said, hey, if I was to move Gamaliel Cup, give me 3 clubs you think it would be good for Gamel and I would work well with. And Cherokee Rose was one of those 3. And so I said, okay, I know them. We've hauled targets there since 20 years, or how long they've been open,
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it was. And I think maybe Bill called Dave first, and the next day I called him and we hit it off. I could tell within the first few minutes our ideals was very similar, and we wanted the same thing, and we wanted to make a top-notch, high-class shoot, and that was fun. And so I feel like that's what the shooters are going to get next year at Cherokee Rose.
Dave, you have to be excited about this coming to Griffin, Georgia. What was the first thought that ran through your mind when you got the call from Geoff saying, hey, I want to put the Gamel Cup at Cherokee Rose?
My first thought was when Bill McGuire called,
mm-hmm.
and he said, are you interested? And, and I said, God, absolutely, I'm interested. I said, I've never shot the Gamel Cup, but I've heard nothing but great things about it. I'd been to the Nashville Gun Club. I'd shot the Tennessee State there with Bill McGuire years ago. And, I don't know, Bill spent a year or 2 at Cherokee Rose way back when. I actually lived on property. And he just thought it was, the perfect venue for the Gamel Cup. And so I told him, I said, yeah, I'd be very interested. And he said, well, he goes, you may get a call tomorrow from Geoff Pare. And, Geoff called, and, we hosted the Gator Cup this year, and we learned a lot, and we learned our strengths, we learned our weaknesses. And in conversation with Geoff, it seemed like everywhere that we were weak, they were really strong.
Yeah.
And again, we had the absolute same values. And one of mine and Gene's, goals was to have, 2 big blasts a year at Cherokee Rose. Have one in the fall, which we're working on with the Fraser 500. We hosted it last year in honor of Chuck Fraser, and we had 179 the first year. It's the first weekend in November. We hope to have over 200 this year. And then hosting the Gamaliel Cup in the spring, which will be April 27th to the 30th. They've always been a big blast, and I think you've been very close to being a mega blast. And that's our goal, this year, is to have 500 plus.
Yeah.
So we're extremely excited.
Yeah. Like you said, you've hosted a big blast at your club before, so you should know by now what to expect, I'm assuming. For anyone listening, if you've listened to this podcast, I know you've heard me talk about Cherokee Rose, or either you have been to Cherokee Rose because it's been there forever. And Dave, I hadn't told you this, but I was talking to the clay lab that was just at your place this past weekend when you had that shoot, and I asked them how they liked the place, and they said, there's a such thing as clean clubs, but this place is on another level. He said the way it's manicured is unbelievable. It's just immaculate. So I wanted to share that with you because I know you didn't hear that conversation, but you and Gene are always improving the place to make it better. And will there be any changes to the club by the time this tournament gets there?
Yes, there will. And one of the big things that we're excited about is the date being at the end of April, because everybody that comes to Cherokee Rose will see it in full foliage. I mean, it's springtime, and it's the prettiest time of year to be there. It's some of the nicest weather during the year. Probably if anybody was here in March and they experienced the record rainfall that we had, and if anybody got stuck, we apologize. Hopefully we pulled you out politely. But we bought 25 acres across the street, right across from our entrance. And unfortunately, we due to the record rainfall for 4 months last year, we didn't get it done. But we've started clearing trees. We should start grading in 2 or 3 weeks. And we've revised our plan a little bit to increase the parking. We're taking out all the trees, and we'll have a parking lot right across from our entrance that if you're driving a truck with a trailer, you'll pull in there and you'll go down one lane, and they'll guide you into a 54-foot parking space. So a 20-foot truck and 20-foot trailer still has 14 feet for a ramp to unload. And then if you leave it there overnight, you just pull straight out and come back the next day to your parking place. So there'll be no backing up or anything. The way it's laid out, everybody pulls in and pulls out. So that's the biggest change that you'll see is adequate parking for trucks and trailers, and we're real excited about that because once you get on our side of the road, we can handle it.
Yeah.
We know we can handle a big blast. You were there. There's no problem on the courses, even with the record rainfall. Nobody stood in a puddle. We drain very well. And we have we're large enough that there's no bottlenecks. Everybody can get around.
Yeah.
So, there's plenty of room for cars to park. There's plenty of room for vendors. We've got a great layout for a big blast or mega blast.
So tell me about the tournament. Is it, Geoff and Dave, whoever wants to answer this, is it going to be just like it has been? Is it the same, main event, fee task, and all the sub gauge? Are you going to add anything? Or
Geoff and I are both, together on this, that we want the Gamaliel Cup to remain the Gamaliel Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have all the same, the same shooting venues that were there in the past. The same main, the prelims, fee task, the sub gauge, and we'll run all the sub gauge. It'll be side by side pump, 410, 20 gauge, 28 gauge, and super sporting. One addition will be we're gonna add sub-gauge super sporting. So there'll be sub-gauge super sporting and super sporting on either the Rose or the Creek course, one of the big courses, Thursday and Friday, and then on the weekend you'll be able to shoot a different super sporting event on the sub-gauge course. So I think that'll be, as popular as super sporting is, and that's I think people will really enjoy that.
We've got Ed Pretchell with Top Gun coming again. He's done our shoot for a lot of years, do the make or break and 5 stands and stuff for us. So we know that'll run smooth, and he takes care of that very, very well. So we're looking forward to him showing up again too. So
we are, and we're going to try to make that a real, a make or break extravaganza, if you will.
Yeah.
We don't have the final numbers yet, but Gamel and Cherokee Rose and whoever our sponsor is for that, Justin, we want to we want to add some serious prize money to the make or break. And I know Low Toyota and Jeremy love make or break, but Ed did such a great job, and he does such a great job running the make or break. He makes a big show, and we got the perfect setup at Cherokee Rose. We lay it over our release ring, and it's elevated, so you can pack a lot of people in there, and everybody can still see what's going on.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a we'll roll right into a really nice dinner and open bar for everybody, and just get them in and out of there, but just we'll make it fun. That's the biggest thing. Geoff and I are together on that. This thing's going to be fun, including the targets.
Dave, that brings up a good point. I just want your opinion on this. How do you feel about the target set at a shoot, and how the outcome should be at that tournament as far as scores are concerned?
Well, I have a real strong feeling about that, and I think that the A class through E class, they pay the same entry fee as the master class the double A does, and they deserve to have as much fun as anybody else there. So we try very hard at Cherokee Rose to shoot targets, or to set targets, so everybody can break targets. I feel that it's a lot easier for a target setter, and I really respect target setters. It's a very hard, thankless job sometimes.
Right.
That it's easier to set a hard target than it is a fair, challenging target. A lot of times, anybody can put speed and distance on it. So to set a course to where the top guys shoot 96 to 98, that's what we're looking for. But then when you run down every class, it may fall off, 10 birds. But when you look at your scores, and which we do after every tournament, we want those numbers to fall pretty smoothly. The last thing we want to do is see a guy in B class shoot 82, and then the next one, is 52.
Right.
Or even in master class, they shoot 93, and the next one's, 87. That, and then it falls off from there. So that's what we're looking for. And you know what? If there's 3 of them tied at 98, we'll have a great shoot-off. I don't know who set the targets at Providence Hill, but I'm looking at all those scores. There are a lot of high scores, and I'm sure there are a lot of great shoot-offs. I think that's fun.
Right.
Yep, absolutely.
I agree with that. I've always thought the same thing. You've really got a handful of guys, just say 20 guys that are going to show up every single time and put up a score, no matter how hard the targets are. But you've got the rest of the people that have to deal with it as well. So I agree with what you said about letting everybody have fun and going out, and everybody feels good about coming, about leaving, and coming back again when they shoot a decent score.
And Justin, one thing that I'm hearing a lot of, and I've heard it for the past couple of years, especially at some of the bigger shoots, that I've heard your C and B A class shooters say, "Oh gosh, I'm just not going to shoot a regional again. I'm just not good enough. This wasn't fun. I paid all this money and I'm done with it." And I hate to hear that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody ought to walk away and say, okay, well, I didn't shoot, I didn't break as many as I wanted to, but boy, I sure had a good time, and I broke a lot of targets, but it was challenging.
Now, who are your target setters? I know you said Hayward was going to set your targets. He set targets on both mains. How does that work, Geoff?
He has set almost all of our targets at Gamel Cup for the last several years. Mike Hafley, before he passed, helped him on the sub-gauge course, and we've had some others come in, but primarily Hayward's done every target thrown at Gamel Cup pretty much.
Okay.
And he and I both, before any target shot, we've looked and both said okay before a shot's ever fired on Thursday morning. So
yeah.
So we may bring in somebody else for an event or two, and maybe surprise some people here before too long. But primarily Hayward will set most all of them, and he's very good at doing just what Dave said, because we've strived for that same outcome at the Gamel Cup, to let everybody have fun and break targets and want to come back next year.
Well, what makes me want to come back is some ice cream sandwiches, and I don't know if y'all if y'all are going to have those here, but I think you should, Dave.
Hey, Geoff, I've never shot the Gamel Cup, but Geoff shared with me about the ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah.
And that is a done deal, Justin.
Yeah.
It's already on the list.
We need a cooler at every station.
There you go.
So, guys, I know it's early, right? It's early to be talking about this and talking about the plans. Maybe we'll have another episode where we get further into the Gamel Cup, what to expect, and the closer the tournament gets to us. So, Dave, I know you have some other things going on at Cherokee Rose. Why don't you tell us about it?
Cherokee Rose is hosting the Georgia State FETAS starting July 21st.
Yep.
We'd love if anybody wants to preview Cherokee Rose before the Gamel Cup. Please sign up on Score Chaser. Registration's open. It's going to be a great shoot. We've got the Fraser 500 the first weekend in November. If you can't make the FETAS, like you said, Clay Labs was here filming a video, and as you know, they do a great job. So that video we hope to be released next week. So it'll give you a great preview of what to expect at Cherokee Rose, and we hope to go live with registration on Score Chaser July 10th or 11th.
I'm excited about it. One of the only reasons that I didn't go to every Gamel Cup is because that, it was in Nashville and I just couldn't be away that long and driving back. But I really enjoyed going and the people, and I look forward to it being here close to home. So especially at Cherokee Rose, I mean, what better place can it be?
We look forward to seeing you and having you. Then you'll be a regular every year then.
Oh yeah. You can count on that.
Justin, we hope to bring a lot of our Florida friends up here too. It's half the distance as it was to the Gamel.
Right.
Gamel only had 11 shooters from Florida last year, and I think a lot of it was just the drive.
Yeah.
And also they can get a direct flight from anywhere in the country into Atlanta. So location.
That's right. I didn't even think about that, and it's probably a lot of people around here the same way as myself. Just didn't want to drive up there to it, and now that it's here, you know how tough Georgia is to win. Gamel Cup just might have got a little tougher. I'm just going to go and tell you guys. But I'm glad you guys come on and told us about what to expect out of the Gamel Cup, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure a lot of people will be too.
Thank you very much, Justin. We really appreciate it.